students who are preparing to have a placement exam before they go to the baccalaureate test. Good morning all. At the beginning, I'm going to introduce my colleagues in the studio, Ms. Maha Al-Jarkas. Good morning.
Good morning.
English language teacher, Damascus Directorate, and Ms. Safa Al-Arabi. Good morning.
Good morning. I have pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank
English language teacher, Damascus Directorate, and me, Abdul Majid Ogharli, Senior Supervisor and Coordinator of the English Curriculum. The director of the session is Ms. Rawa Aid. Thanks for being with us. We're going to give you, before we start talking about grammar, you are going to have a test including English, not only English, about other subjects. For English, you are going to have 10 questions. It is automated. You're not going to write. You're going just to choose the correct choice. 3 questions about vocabulary, 3 questions about tenses, and 4 questions about general grammar. The vocabulary depends on your knowledge, how much you know about words and meanings, and how you can use them in sentences. Tenses, it needs you to learn about grammar of tenses, and we're going to help you about general grammar. The beginning is going to be to Ms. Maha.
Yes.
She's going to talk about reported speech. Ms. Maha, floor is yours.
Yes. When we report someone saying, we start with he or she said or told someone.
Mm-hmm.
We go in the reported sentence one tense back. The present becomes past. Example, I am hungry. This is a direct sentence. It becomes he said he was hungry. The verb is am. It becomes was in the past. We change the pronouns. I becomes he or she, and the possessive pronouns, my becomes your becomes my, or his or her, and so on. Everything, of course, near becomes far.
Next, Ms. Rawa.
Like now becomes then, here becomes there, this becomes that, today that day, tomorrow becomes the next day, and yesterday the day before.
So everything near should be far. Ms. Safa, will you please continue about questions?
Reported questions. So we have 2 kinds of questions, WH questions and yes, no questions. We have to differentiate between these forms. So we have to start with WH questions. Mm-hmm. When we report WH questions, we start with question or we start the question with he or she asked or wanted to know. Then if the auxiliary is do or does or even did, we drop it.
Yes.
Other auxiliaries go after the subject, like in the positive sentence, and also we drop the question mark and put a full stop at the end of the reported question. For example, direct question, where do we live? Reported question, he asked me where I live.
You became I.
Yes.
Do is dropped, and the verb live in the present becomes past, and it is where I lived. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
I need to set my mobile mute.
Yes.
I forgot to do it before we started. Miss Maha?
Yes, for yes, no questions. Mm-hmm. We use if or whether at the beginning. Mm-hmm. If we have a direct question like, can you swim? We reported as follows. He asked me if I could swim or whether I could swim. It doesn't matter.
So what we changed?
We changed the tense. Mm-hmm. And we used if at the beginning of the sentence. Of course, we dropped the question mark at the end because it's no more a direct question.
And you became?
And you became I. Yes.
Yes.
We have another question. Do you speak English? Of course, we have to drop do. Mm-hmm. We change you to I, and we start with asked. So she asked me if I spoke English. Mm-hmm. Another direct question, did you do your homework? Here the auxiliary verb is did, which is in the past. So we change it, we drop it, and we change the tense into the past perfect.
Exactly.
He asked me if I had done my homework.
Did is past, so it goes to past perfect, had done. Had plus verb 3.
Yes.
Next, Ms. Rawa, wish.
Yes.
Miss Safa.
Wish is opposite the reality. If the real sentence is positive, the sentence with wish is negative or something different from reality.
Yes.
The tense with wish goes one tense back. The present becomes past and the past becomes past perfect. Simple or continuous. For example, I'm late because I wish I wasn't late. Or I wish I was early.
So either we make it
So,
negative or
yeah.
put something different from reality.
Yes, very good. So I forget about the meeting because becomes I wish I hadn't forgotten about the meeting.
I forgot a simple past.
And
I wish I hadn't
yeah.
forgotten
Yeah.
about the meeting, or I wish I had remembered
Yes,
about the meeting.
we give the opposite.
Yes. Next, Ms. Rawa. The passive voice.
Yes,
Ms.
the
Maha.
passive voice. The passive voice form is used when we don't know the subject or we want to focus on the object because it is more important. And of course, there must be an object in the sentence. How do we change an active sentence into passive? First, we put the object at the beginning. Second, we change the main verb to verb 3, which is the past participle. And then between them, we put verb to be as follows.
Yes. Next, Ms. Rawa. Ms. Safa. Simple present tense, we put or is or are.
He eats an apple. It's an active. An apple is eaten.
Passive.
It's in the passive. Sam eats apples. Apples are eaten by Sam.
So when the subject is important or known,
Yes.
we put it at the end.
After by. Yes.
preceded
Here,
with.
there is a notice. When the subject is definite, we put it at the end of the sentence preceded with by. We use it to emphasize on the subject after
Yes,
by.
when
Yes.
it's known, yes.
Okay. Next slide, Ms. Rawa. Ms. Maha.
Yes, with the simple past tense, we put was or were. He ate apples, so we move the object to the beginning of the sentence. Apples were eaten. When we have present continuous and past continuous, we put being after verb to be. He is eating an apple becomes an apple is being eaten. Tom was eating apples. Apples were being eaten by Tom. Here the subject is known or is definite, so we put it at the end of the sentence preceded by.
By.
Preceded with by. Okay. The present perfect and past perfect, we use been.
Yes,
After verb to have.
the verb to have.
Mustafa.
Yes, he has eaten apples. Apples have been eaten. Sam had eaten an
Here,
apple.
here in the active question,
Yeah.
active sentence, it is has.
Yeah.
Why it is have in the passive?
Because the object here is a plural form.
Yes.
So apples would
take-
have
it
instead
takes
of
have. Yes,
So
thank you.
apples have been eaten. Sam had eaten an apple. An apple had been eaten by Sam.
Thank you. Next slide. Ms. Maha.
Yes, with the future tense and with auxiliary verbs, we put be after the auxiliary verb. We will eat apples becomes apples will be eaten. Sam can eat a lot of apples. Here we have an auxiliary. A lot of apples can be eaten by Sam. Tom must eat apples. Apples must be eaten by Tom.
Etc.
Etc.
So all auxiliaries take the same way.
Yes.
We come to the definite article there with Ms.
Yeah.
Safa.
With a noun of which there is only one of it. We use it, the sun, the moon.
So when the noun is only
Unique.
in
Yes.
the unique, yes, in the
Yes.
word or
In the
in
word.
the country or
Yeah.
in the place,
Yeah, we
we
use
use
that.
that.
Just like the sun or the moon. With a noun which, by reason of locality, is considered one, for example, the prime minister, the teacher. With noun mentioned for a second time, I bought a car. The car is red.
Yeah.
Here we're defining the car using that.
So when we mention something
Yeah,
a second
a
time,
second
it will be
time will-
clear.
yes.
Yes.
With a noun which has become definite by the addition of phrase or a clause. The
Yes.
girl in blue, the man who answered the phone.
So the phrase in blue makes the girl clear.
Clear, very
So
good.
we put that.
Yes.
And the man is indefinite, but when we put who answered the phone, we made the man
Yeah,
clear.
different, yeah.
So it takes that. Next slide, Ms. Rawa. Continue, Mustafa.
Yeah. With the musical instruments, after the verb play, So here we have to pay attention that we have to mention play. For example, she plays the piano. With superlative, also we have to use the best, the most. With names of countries which consist of more than one word, just like the United Kingdom or the United States, the United Arab Emirates.
Thank you. Next slide, Ms. Rawa. Use of A or N.
Yes, A is used with consonants and N with vowels.
Yeah.
With singular countable indefinite nouns of which there are more than one and mentioned for the first time, like
So this
a boy.
is the rule.
Yes,
The noun should be singular
yes.
Yeah.
and countable
Singular
And mentioned for the
and
first time.
indefinite, mentioned for the first time, yes.
A boy, an apple, a car, an umbrella. They are also used with professions, a teacher, an engineer, and they are also used to mean per, which
Per.
is every, 5 pounds a kilo, 50 kilometers an hour, or with meals when preceded with an adjective. I had a delicious breakfast.
Yes, because meals usually don't take
Yes.
an article.
We had
say,
lunch, we had
I
breakfast.
Yes, lunch, breakfast. But when we have an adjective, we put a.
Yes.
Yeah.
We come to conditional sentences, Ms. Safa.
Okay. Conditional sentences. First, we have to say that conditional sentences are composed of two parts. It's very important. If clause and result clause, there are 4 types. Type 0, we use it with habits and facts, or when we speak about something in general, of course. The form if plus simple present, comma is very important if we start with
Yes.
if clause, then result clause, it should be simple present. For example, if we lose a game, we get angry. If the temperature goes below 0, water freezes. So
Yes.
here we
This
are
is a
speaking
scientific
about facts. Yes.
Next slide, Ms. Rawa. Ms. Maha, type
Yes,
1.
type 1 of the conditional sentences is used with something real in the present and future. Its form is if with the present simple, and the result clause is used with will and the infinitive. We have an example. If the weather is nice tomorrow, here the verb is, so it's present simple, and the result clause, we will play football, it's used in the future. If I have enough money, I will buy a car. I will buy a car if I have enough money. We can change the place of the result and the main clause. It doesn't matter, but we have to stick to the tenses that we use.
And when if is in the middle, we
Yes,
don't need
we
to
don't need
use
to use
a
a
comma.
comma.
Yes, thank you. Next slide, Ms. Rawa. Type 2.
So type 2, we use it with something unreal or
So the
impossible situation.
difference between first and second,
For
the first is real,
real,
the
but
second
the
is
second
unreal.
are impossible or unlikely situation.
but
in
both
that.
are in the present and future.
Yeah,
Yes.
we use it for
But
present
type
to
2 is
indicate
unreal.
unreal, but we use it to indicate present or future. So
Yeah.
we use it with something unreal in the present and future. The form is if plus simple past, then result clause should be would plus infinitive. For example, if the weather was nice now, we would play football. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. But it's impossible situation, so we use it in past tense.
Well, next slide, Ms. Rawa. Type 3.
Yes, is used with something unreal in the past.
So
Its form
unreal in the past.
Yes.
And always when it is in the past, it is unreal.
Yes. Its form is, we use if with the past perfect, which is had and verb 3. Then in the result clause, we use would, have, and past participle, which is verb 3. Example, if you had told us earlier, we would have taken you with us.
Thank you so much. We need to go to the second PowerPoint show. Ms. Rawa is going to help us. We are going to talk about tenses. We start with simple present tense. Ms. Maha is going to talk about
The simple
the
present,
simple present tense. And Ms. Rawa is going to click space bar because it is animated, please. The subject and
Yes.
the verb and the complement.
Yes.
Example.
When we have affirmative form, we use the subject, verb 1, and complement. Example, I speak English. He speaks English. With third person pronouns, we add s to the verb. I have a car. She has a car. Notice we add es to the verb instead of only s with he, she, it when the word or when the verb ends in s, ss, sh, ch, x, z, and o.
Yes.
I finish, he finishes, it ends with es. I go, she goes, es. You watch, she watches, we fix, he fixes, es.
Next. Question form.
Yeah.
Next. Okay, Mustafa.
Yes. We can use question form using do or does. With
So we use do or does to
plus
make question in the
yes,
simple present
and
tense.
simple present infinitive and complement.
Yes.
This is the form
When
of
we
the
have
sentence.
an auxiliary,
Yeah.
the verb followed should be in the infinitive form.
Yes, yes. So, if there is no auxiliary in the sentence, we have to use verb to do. Do you speak English? Do you have a car?
Next,
With-
Mr. please. Does he speak
Does he
English?
speak English? Does she have a car? We have to notice that have, not has, is used because we have, we use the infinitive form of the verb after auxiliaries.
Not verb
Not
one.
verb
Yes.
one, of
Next.
course. Yeah.
Negative form with Miss Maha, please.
Yes, we start with the subject with do, does, and we add not at the end with the infinitive and the complement of the sentence. Example, I don't or I do not speak English. They are both correct. He doesn't or does not have a car.
The use of the simple present tense.
Yes.
First,
Yes, it's used with habits, which are
Habits.
habitual actions. Here we use adverbs of frequency, such as always, usually, sometimes, often, never, seldom, generally, rarely, once, twice, 3 times a week, a year, a month, it doesn't matter, frequently, every day, every week, every month, every year. Example, it often rains in winter. I go to school every day. She sometimes plays tennis.
number 2 is with facts. Example, the
Yes,
earth goes
the earth
around
goes
the sun.
round the sun. We eat to live. And then we use it for state verbs, involuntary verbs, like I see a bird, she hears my voice.
Yeah. There are other uses such as,
In narration,
yes,
it's Jane's birthday. She wakes up early, has a shower, gets dressed, and goes to shop. And instead of future tense, when we have a timetable, like the lesson starts at 8 o'clock, the plane takes off at 4:30 a.m.
present continuous, Miss Safa, please.
We use it with in affirmative form, subject with am or is or are, it depends. Then we have to add the ing,
Verb ing.
yes, to the verb plus complement. For example, I'm playing football, she's reading a book, we are studying. So next we're going to speak about question form. If the answer is yes or no, we have to start with the auxiliary. Already in the present continuous we have auxiliary, which is verb to be. Is are plus s, v-ing, then the complement. Am I speaking quickly? Here you have to pay attention that we have to start with capital letter. Okay, am I speaking quickly? Is he playing football or are you studying? In the negative form, subject is are plus not, v, ing, or verb plus ing plus complement. I'm not working now, or she isn't, or she is not cooking at the moment. They aren't studying, or they are not studying. So we have to pay attention to I'm not. It could be, here we have contraction with I am.
It's only I'm not.
I'm not, yes.
We can't
but
write
you can't
or say
write
I
or
amn't.
say amn't. Of course, it's wrong. He is not, or he isn't, or he is not. We are not, or we aren't, or we're not.
The use. Miss Safa, continue, please.
Yes, to express that the action is happening now.
So the main use of the
Yes.
present continuous tense
At
is
the
to
time
show
of
that
speaking.
the action is happening at the moment of speaking.
Yes, we use now, right now, at the moment, or at present, today, tonight, this week, this month, or this year. This year, for example, I'm watching a film now. Also, we can use it with incomplete action. She's writing a book, or we can call it temporary action. Or instead of the future tense, we talk about arrangements, personal plans. For example, we are visiting my aunt next week. Next week refers to the future, but we can use present continuous for personal arrangement, referring to the future. And we use it with temporary actions. For example, I'm living in London now, but I'm not, I'm Syrian. I'm student here.
So when we say I'm living, it means I don't
Yes.
live here
For a-
always, just for a
yes.
period of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miss Maha, the simple past tense.
Yes, when the simple past tense is used in the affirmative form, we use the subject, verb to, and the complement. I went to school yesterday. Yesterday is the time reference here, so we used go in the second with verb to. She played volleyball last Monday. When we have a question, we start with did, as long as we don't have an auxiliary in the past simple tense. We start with did, subject, and infinitive. Then the complement of the sentence. Did you play football last Monday? Here, play is used in the infinitive because it's preceded with did. Did she see the film before? When we have a negative form, we use the subject, did and not, infinitive, and the complement. I didn't or I did not play tennis yesterday. He didn't go to the cinema with me.
Next,
The
Ms.
use
Rawa. The use.
Yes, the use of the past simple. First, it's used to express a single action happened and ended in the past. Example, we saw that film a week ago. We use the adverbs yesterday, last week, last Saturday morning, last Tuesday evening, ago or 2 weeks ago, last year. It's also used to express a habit that was frequent in the past. Example, I swam in the river every day last summer. Here we have last summer, so it's a habit that was frequent in the past. With unreal past, she speaks as if she was an adult. I wish I knew the answer. We always use past after wish. With second conditional sentences, if I was or if I were rich, I would buy a big house.
Thank you. Next, Ms.
Unfortunately,
Rawa.
I'm not.
Past continuous tense with Ms. Safa, please.
So we use it to show that the action was in progress in the past. For example, we were studying all day. Yesterday here we have the time all day. So we use past continuous to talk about two actions in the past. The first was in progress.
Next, Ms. Rawa. Please.
So the first was in progress and was interrupted by another action. So we put the first in the past continuous tense and the one which interrupted in the past simple.
Let me just a little paraphrase.
Okay.
Before you continue.
Yeah.
You're talking about the use, so no problem. We have the affirmative form, subject plus was or were, verb ing complement. Example, I was having dinner when you phoned. The boys were playing football when the bell rang. Then we have the question form is very simple. We just invert. We put was or were before the subject. Then the subject, then the verb ing, then the complement. Example, were you studying? Was he watching a film? Then the negative form, subject plus was or were plus not plus verb ing. Example, I wasn't playing. They weren't studying. Now, Mr. Rawa, let's go to the following slide. It's about the use. Here, as you mentioned, to show that the action was in progress in the past, we were studying all day yesterday. It is a long period. Next, Ms. Rawa, to talk about two actions in the past. The first was in progress and was interrupted by another action. We put the first in the past continuous tense and the one which interrupted it
In the past,
in the past simple. To show that the action was incomplete, always incomplete actions should be in the progressive.
Yes.
If it is present, present progressive. It is past, past progressive. Future, future progressive, and so on. We have compare, see if compare. I read a book on the plane means I finished it.
Yes.
I was reading a book on the plane means I didn't finish it. Nota bene, notice, when the action happens quickly, we use simple past, not the past continuous. Example, a bee stung me last week, not a bee was stinging me.
Yes.
Because the verb sting doesn't need time to
Yes.
happen.
Yeah. It's a short verb.
State verbs, I saw a bird, we cannot say I was seeing.
Yes.
I knew, I can't say I was knowing the answer. We come to present perfect tense. Whose turn?
Yes, me?
Miss Ma.
Yes. affirmative form, we use the subject, have or has, according to the subject, and verb 3, then we complete the sentence. I have just eaten lunch. Have is used according to the subject, which is I, and we use the verb eaten as verb 3, and we have here a time reference which is just, and it's used with the present perfect tense. She has almost finished cleaning the house. When we have a question, we start with the auxiliary, which is have or has, the subject, then verb 3 and the complement. Have you eaten lunch? Has he written a letter? When we have a negative form, we use the subject, have or has, followed by not, and verb 3 with the complement. I haven't done my homework. She has never played tennis. Note, haven't is the same as have not. Hasn't is has not.
The use.
Yes, the use of the present perfect is when an action happened in the past, the exact time is not mentioned.
So the difference
Between the past simple, yes, and the present perfect is that the exact time is not mentioned in the present perfect.
Yes.
And we talk about it now, or we see the result now.
Okay, there should be connection.
Yes,
with
between the present and the
Linking
past,
verb,
yes.
yes.
Somebody has painted the door. In this case, we use already, almost, just, or yet. I have just eaten lunch. She has almost finished cleaning the house. My father hasn't come yet. Has your father come yet? Notice, has your father come is a normal question, whereas hasn't your father come yet expresses surprise. Usually negative questions express surprise. I have already written an email. The present perfect is also used when the action started in the past and has continued without stop until the present and may continue in the future. In this case, we use since with a point in time and for with duration of time. I have played the piano since I was 10. She has driven her car for 3 years. We also use it when something has never happened before. She has never seen snow. Here, she has never seen it before, so we use never. And it's also used when one action has happened many times until the present. We have had 4 tests so far. We use, in this case, so far, until now, up to now. And we have, comparing, yes. He has been shopping. He went and returned. He has gone shopping. He is still there. And here is the difference between go and be.
Been,
yes.
Thank you. Past, present perfect
Yes,
continuous
with affirmative form, subject have or has, plus been, plus verb ing, plus complement. For example, I have been waiting for an hour. He has been teaching since 1999. So the question form, of course, we have to use the auxiliary have or has first, plus subject, plus been, plus ving or verb ing, plus complement. For example, have you been teaching since 1999? How long has she been teaching? So with negative form, subject have or has plus not, been plus verb ing, plus complement, I haven't been teaching, or he hasn't been waiting.
The use.
So the use to show that the action has started in the past, has continued to the present, and may continue in the future. We use since and for. I have been waiting for an hour. He has been teaching since 1999. To talk about a past activity that has a present result. He is tired because he has been running. So her is wet because she has been swimming. We use the adverbs lately, recently, all day, or all morning, or all week with the tense. Notice
Actually,
here,
all plus time
Yes,
with
all-
any tense
Yeah.
means progressive.
progressive. That's right. So we have to notice that when we use all time, all day, all week, this means that the action is long and should be in the continuous tense, whatever the tense is.
Yes.
Past perfect tense.
Yes, past perfect tense is used as follows: the subject had and the verb 3, then the complement of the sentence. Example, I had eaten breakfast before I went to school. When we have a question, we use the auxiliary verb in the beginning, had plus subject, verb 3, and the complement. Had he eaten breakfast before he went to school? In the negative form, we add not after had. I hadn't eaten breakfast before I went to school. The use of the past perfect tense is when we talk about two actions in the past with a period of time between them, and this is important. We put that happened first in the past perfect tense and that happened second in the simple past tense. I had eaten breakfast before I went to school. Eating breakfast happened before going to school. Note, when we have succession, two or more actions following another in sequence, we put them all in the simple past tense. The past perfect is also used when we talk about an action happened before a specific time, a specific past time. Before sunrise, the doctor had performed the operation. It's also used when an action never happened before a specific past time. Before she went to Lebanon last February, Suha had never seen snow. And the final use is with third conditional sentences. If I had known the answer, I would have told you.
Yes. Past perfect continuous tense, Ms. Safa.
Yeah, we use it also with affirmative form, subject had plus been plus verb ing. Plus complement, the police had been looking for the criminal for 2 years before they caught him last week. For question, we have to start with had, then the subject, been, the ing or verb plus ing complement. Here we can use how long to indicate the duration of time. How long had the police been looking for the criminals before they caught him last week? With negative form, subject had plus not been, the ing plus complement, he hadn't been waiting for a long time when he found a taxi.
The use?
We use it to show that an action was in progress before another action in the past. The police had been looking for the criminal for 2 years before they caught him last week. To talk about a past activity that with a past result. Yes, for example, he was tired because he had been running, or her hair was wet because she had been swimming.
We come to the last tense before we wrap up. Future tense, will and we going to Ms. Ma.
First, we start with will. In the affirmative form, we use the subject, shall or will, and the infinitive, then the complement of the sentence. I shall or I will go to school. We shall or we will go to school. You will go to school. He will go to school. And here we have a note that shall is only used with I or we, not the rest of the pronouns. She will go to school. They will go to school. For the question form, we use shall or will, the subject, infinitive, and the complement of the sentence.
And with I and we, only we can use shall I or shall we.
Yes. Shall I go to school? Shall we go to school? Will you go to school? Will he go to school? Will she go to school? Will they go to school? Will it eat the bird?
You're getting bored, I think, repeating the same.
Yes, the same sentence.
Yes.
Yes. In the negative form, we use the subject, shall or will, not, and the infinitive with the complement. I shall not, and its short form is shan't go to school. I will not, its short form is won't go to school. We shall not, we shan't go to school. We will not or we won't go to school. Example, he will not becomes won't go to school. She will not, won't go to school. You will not or won't go to school. They will not or won't go to school. It will not or it won't eat the bird.
Be going to, the same.
Yeah.
We are going to use I'm going to with infinitive.
Yes. We use the subject, be going to, with the infinitive and the complement. I am, here be differs according to the subject. I am going to be a doctor. You are going to be a doctor. He is going to be a doctor. She is going to be a doctor. We are going to be doctors. They are going to be doctors. In the question form, we use be, subject, going to, infinitive, and the complement. Am I going to be a doctor? Are you going to be a doctor? Is he going to be a doctor? Is she going to be a doctor? Are we going to be doctors? Are they going to be doctors? Is it going to eat the bird?
Yeah. Next, Mr. Ra. The negative form is the same way. We put not after verb to be. Can you go next, Mr. Ra, just to show the use? I'm going to talk before we wrap up quickly.
Yes.
We use going to and will for prediction and for intention. If we predict something because we see an evident, we use going to. If we predict because we think something will happen, we use will. For intention, if the decision is taken at the moment of speaking, we use will. If it is planned, I mean it is decided before, we use going to. Finally, I want to thank my colleagues in the studio, Ms. Maha Al-Jarkas, English language teacher, thank you so much. And Ms. Safa Al-Arabi, English language teacher, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Majid.
big thank you to Ms. Rawaa, the director of the session. This is me, Abdul Majid Orli, senior supervisor and coordinator of the curriculum of English. I hope you succeed in all your tests and in your life. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.